Hola, tequila and wine amigos. Bienvenido and welcome to this episode of the Hombre Cave. I'm your host, the Tequila Hombre, or, since we're just friends, you can call me Mark or Hombre. A lot of friends call me Hombre. So in the last episode, I kind of gave you guys some history of how I got into tequila and brought you up to the beginning of the Tequila Hombre channel. So in this episode, we're going to dive down deep into how I created the Tequila Hombre channel, my philosophies behind it, and what I was looking to accomplish, and how that kind of drove me to diving down deeper and learning more than what most people know about tequila production, as well as wine making, which I'll connect the two of those, like I said previously, in another episode, in the next episode, matter of fact. So make sure you click that follow button wherever you find your podcasts, or go subscribe to the Hombre Cave YouTube channel. And like I always say too, if you have questions or want further information, feel free to comment on there, ask any questions. And I always answer them personally. So I'll give you some more places where if you want to get in touch with me, you'll know where to do that. But let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into the beginning of the Tequila Hombre channel. So at this point, at the beginning of the Tequila Hombre channel, I had amassed a collection of tequila bottles, and I've amassed contacts with some of the good producers that were out there that I could interact with and ask questions, and they'd always respond and give me information. And I got a webcam and a computer, and I started the Tequila Hombre channel. Now, I also had a bunch of haters that were looking for me to start posting videos to see what they could do, and I actually appreciate my haters. I appreciate the people that were looking to come after me and stop me from posting content because they didn't think I'd been drinking tequila long enough to know anything. And so they drove me to make sure the information that I was going to post in my reviews was 100% accurate and that no mistakes were made. So I did a lot of preparation where before I started doing a video, I'd pick a certain brand. I know who the producer was, or look up who the producer was. I'd reach out to them and say, I'm going to do a review of your brand, and I'd like to get some production details. And they would go back and forth with them on their processes, what they did, and how they made the tequila, so I can make sure that the information that I was providing was 100% accurate. I had found out that some resources that I was using online originally were inaccurate, because sometimes I would record a video first and then I'd send it off because the producer wouldn't respond. I'd send it off and say, can you tell me if this is accurate before I make it live? And they would come back and say, no, that information isn't true. This is what actually you did. And so then I'd have to go back and reshoot the video with the correct information. So I didn't rely very heavily on online resources for information about the brands, unless of course it was the brand's website. But most of the time I'd reach out to the producer to get the information. And because of this, I got a lot of responses back from people that watched my review videos that would say, thank you for the complete content. I didn't know this about this brand. And then when I did my tasting notes and stuff, they a lot of times would connect with my tasting notes saying, I tried this tequila and you mentioned these flavors and I get these flavors too. And thank you for turning me on to really good quality tequilas. And these kind of comments, these kind of interactions that I was having with the viewers of the YouTube channel motivated me really to learn more and to dig down deeper and to keep going and not give up on the channel or not give up on creating content. So when I traveled to Mexico to talk to the producers, and I was also doing the barrel buys still too, because as I found brands that I enjoyed, I'd reach out to them and say, look, I'm interested. If we can do this, it'd be great. I'd love to put together a single barrel buy to support your brand where we'll buy the entire barrel and then, promote it online and work to, not only get you money and support your brand, but also get your brand into more people's hands. And a lot of times the producer's like, yeah, come out, let's do something. So I was able to get barrels that originally weren't made available online through doing this content on the YouTube channel too. So I would fly out and sit with these producers, which I became very good friends with. I have a lot of the top producers are really good friends of mine. Actually, I consider them family. They're part of my family. So I went out, and instead of doing the normal things that most other influencers do, matter of fact, I used to get a lot of comments from the producers like, "You're different. When you come out here, you sit, we talk business, we talk technical about production and stuff," where a lot of these other influencers come out, they drink, they get drunk, and they have a big party here, and we don't really know if they're for real or not. I was never that person. I never went out for free tequila and to get drunk. Instead, we talked business, and a lot of times I was making purchases from them to do programs for the Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective. But I also wasn't afraid to ask them information that a lot of other people didn't know to ask. And the reason why I knew to ask this was because of my experience in home brewing and studying fermentation and working with yeasts and knowing the type of things that happen. So I would ask them questions about, how they ferment, what's the ideal temperature that they look for, that they think creates the best profile. And I'd ask them all kinds of questions like this, where they would look at me and they'd smile and they go, people don't normally ask these kinds of questions. This is actually kind of amazing. We love this. So there's times where I'm sitting there with one of the top tequila producers on a whiteboard, and we're drawing a distillation curve and talking about where they cut the hearts and where they cut the heads and the corazon and where they find that they pull the best flavor for their tequila. And we were diving down deep into all this information. And then I'd take this information back home with me and share it on the YouTube channel with the viewers, with people like you. So I was able, through the enlightenment that I got, to enlighten others. And I got a lot of really good positive responses. People would respond back and say, this is great content. Thank you. I never knew this. Nobody else talks about this stuff, and I still was doing reviews. And so I still get people that say, your reviews were spot on. Thank you for turning me on to really good quality tequila. And I started building a following. And that was really exciting for me. But I needed to find a way to connect with people that were starting to follow me, even deeper than what we were doing with the comments on the YouTube channel and through them sending me messages through Facebook and social media. So I looked to start building a community. So with the community aspect, I was looking at different ways that we could build a community. We did Facebook pages, but Facebook shut down my Tequila Barrel and Agave Collective group because they said we were illegally selling liquor, but no bottles were being sold on there. We were just pointing people towards retail partners that we were working with at the time. So I needed to find a place where we could build a community, interact, and and talk to without this almighty organization watching what we're doing and making assumptions as to what we're doing. So we moved the community to Discord, and we started creating a Discord group, and people were asking me before, is there a way what I can do to support you? And with all this information that you're doing, and you're not, accepting money from brands for commercials, to do commercials and stuff, we'd love to support you. And so we made that a membership program on Discord. So for $10 a month, people could join the Discord group and become part of that community. And so we have a really good community on Discord where I interact with a lot of my viewers and stuff that are members on that, and provide them additional information, additional details. And so we're starting to build this community that was really looking for more information. So I started thinking to myself, okay, well, I need to provide more information to provide a benefit for people on the community as well as people on the channel so they keep following. So how can I dive deeper down into the world of tequila and tequila production, where it's not just saying, hey, they use a brick horno, they use an autoclave, they use a roller mill or a taona, which is basically general information where if you know anything about tequila, a lot of the producers use the same processes for making tequila. So I needed to find out what makes things different. How can they make things different? How can they set themselves aside, apart from the rest of the crew that are doing the same processes. So I started diving down deeper into the actual makeup of tequila and why certain things happen within the tequila world. So the connection I found was actually with wine. And that's how wine kind of got brought into the mix. And in order for me to learn more about tequila production, I started making wine at home. Now, take into consideration here that I was not a wine drinker when I started doing these videos and falling in love with tequila. I was not a wine drinker at all. When we went to restaurants, like my wife and I, she would have a glass of wine. I would drink a Coke Zero or Diet Coke or something. I was not a wine drinker. I drank beer occasionally, but I was not a wine drinker. So I'm sitting there going, okay, well, I see there's a connection now with wine, which I'll get into in a future episode. So I'm like, I'm not a wine drinker, but maybe I should revisit it and see if I like wine. And I bought a bottle of red wine, poured myself a glass and tried it and went, this actually tastes really good. I have found that by doing all these reviews and tasting all these different tequilas that were aged or not aged or aged in cognac barrels or wine barrels or bourbon barrels, I developed a palate that actually appreciates red wine. And so I'm like, okay, great. So now that I'm getting into home winemaking, I can actually enjoy the wine that I'm drinking and kind of taste the differences. So I started doing winemaking with kits, and there's only so much you can do with a kit, but I started, learning how to make wine through some online resources, and I picked up some books on home winemaking and started connecting with other winemakers that gave me some direction and stuff on it. Now, one of the things I also did was I reached out to some producers that I know, and I go, have you ever known about the connection between wine and tequila? And surprisingly, I got responses back that were like, yeah, you found out about that? And I went, yeah. And they said, keep going. You're going to be fascinated by what you find out. I'm like, wow, okay, this is really surprising. So it motivated me to go further into winemaking to learn more about tequila production. So I went from doing kits that you can buy at your homebrew stores and stuff to actually going out and picking grapes in local vineyards here in Southern California and working with different varietals of grapes, doing fermentation with them, using different yeast profiles, experimenting with different temperatures and stuff like that. And now I have a winery in my garage. The first year I produced wine from grapes, I entered 5 wines into a home winemaker competition, and 4 of them won awards. So now keep in mind, I didn't start from scratch. I had a fermentation background with beer brewing, so I knew the kind of things I needed to do to create positive flavor profiles and stuff with the fermentation aspect. But there's a lot of other things in winemaking that I didn't know that I had to learn. And so I actually started connecting with mentors and working with people that guided me on the wine side and taught me about wine, to the point now I've got a passion in wine and tequila both. So now the Hombre Cave here, the garage, you'll notice anytime I do a video here, I'm wearing a sweatshirt. It's 60 degrees in here, 55, 60 degrees, because I have it air conditioned, because that's the perfect temperature for storing wine bottles. I've got hundreds of wine bottles here in the garage now from wines that I've made, as well as some commercial wines, so I can experiment with the flavor profiles and stuff. And we're going to talk a little more about palate development and flavor profiles in future episodes, so make sure you look for those. But I'm now gone crazy into winemaking. I currently have 160 gallons of wine below the table here, aging on wood, and I'm looking forward to bottling those here probably within the next 6 months or so, and letting people try them. Now, when I do make wine, I do have a winery. I'm not a licensed winery, so I give my bottles of wine away. And the producers that I've actually connected with that in Mexico that are like, yeah, you're learning this. This is great. No one else talks about this connection. They're saying to me, bring some of your wine with you when you come on this trip. When I'm heading out to Mexico here in a little bit, to do some more projects with some producers. And they're like, bring some of your wine. I want to try some of your wine. I'm really excited about this. And then let's talk about doing some projects together using what you learn on the winemaking. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be amazing. We're going to create some really cool things. So there we are, expanding my knowledge and sharing this information on the YouTube channel, and people are still responding positively to it. So I'm going to push the envelope with this podcast, where I'm even going to give you guys more information that I'm not going to post on the Tequila Hombre channel. It's going to be for you guys that are coming here to learn more and to dive deeper down into tequila. I'm also going to talk about wine and winemaking, so you too can do these experiments at home yourself legally and learn more about wine production and tequila production and how similar they are and the kind of things you can do to change flavor profiles, what kind of things adversely affect the flavor profile versus may enrich the flavor profile. There's a lot of different things you can learn, and the benefit from it is not only are you learning, but you'll end up getting some really nice wine that you can drink for a really low cost compared to what's available out on the commercial market. But then it also allows you to not only be a tequila aficionado, but you'll be a wine aficionado as well. So when you travel, if you've ever noticed this, like I went to France last summer, and in France, you don't find a lot of tequila. But because I was into wine, we actually traveled to the Bordeaux region of France. We traveled to Burgundy region of France, and we're able to do wine tasting and be able to taste some of the flavors of France, which was amazing. So you'll be able to do that as well. And Mexico actually has a wine industry now that's growing and becoming more and more popular. If you've ever been to the Valle de Guadalupe, but a lot of the producers that I know that I'm talking to all the time that are friends of mine are also big wine drinkers. And there's a reason for that. So we'll get into that in the wine episode. So make sure you follow and click that subscribe button if you're getting this on YouTube, and look for that episode. It should be the next episode. I'm going to do it as the next episode for you guys. So there'll be a lot of great information for you that will help you in your tequila and wine journey. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the impact and the legacy that the Tequila Hombre channel has had on the tequila industry itself. Because I was asking these questions that no one else was asking, I was able to provide more information and really educate people as to why some of these producers and some of these brands are ones you should explore and look into, and try to focus people more than keeping them up where they have to feel like they feel the need to try every single brand that comes out to see whether they're going to like it or not. And the responses that I get back from people are mostly positive. I get people that enjoy the content, people that tell me that I've helped them on their journey and they love my content and love my reviews and agree with my reviews mostly. And it's really helped them a lot. And because of this feedback that I'm getting, that people are really enjoying the content and are learning a lot and are exploring these brands that these amazing producers are doing, it keeps me going forward and keeps me moving and keeps me creating content and really trying to push the envelope to make people think, that will make them better consumers. So when they go, I don't get stories anymore from people that, hey, I bought a tequila and I regret buying it now because I didn't know that this and this, it was going to taste like this and this. Instead, they're like, I checked your channel first, looked for the review. When I saw the review, I saw what you thought of it, what your tasting notes, and I decided to grab a bottle, and I'm glad I did. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And when I get those thank yous, it just fills my heart and with joy, and I'm happy that I help people, and I'm going to continue doing so and try to expand that here with the Hombre Cave podcast. We're going to go deeper down into things. I'm going to introduce you to people, and so you can learn more about the people behind the brands versus, hey, this is the producer, he's the one that makes the brand. Instead, you're going to learn more about what drives them, what kind of experiences they have, and really kind of learn more about the people. This podcast is going to be less about pushing brands and pushing bottles and more about the people behind the brands and the people behind the industry and the processes in making the tequila and things that producers can do to make things better, as well as winemaking, how to do it at home. We're going to bring some wine producers in to talk about the differences from the different regions and different things like that, different philosophies in winemaking, but also give you information on how you can make wine at home yourself. So you're not paying $150 for a bottle of Cab Sauv. Instead, you can make just as good quality Cab Sauv for $7, $8 a bottle yourself at home. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow, and we'll cover that stuff and get lots of more information for you here on the Hombre Cave. So what kind of impact has this had on the brands? Well, I have brands that reach out to me all the time that send me bottles for reviews now. I'm no longer paying for my bottles. A lot of brands will send me bottles and say, hey, we'd like to get your feedback on what you think about this tequila. If you don't do a review on it, that's fine. But if you want to do a review, that's great too. But you're looking for your honest feedback. And so a lot of times I'll connect with brands, and especially if I like them, afterwards I'll say, yeah, I'd love to do some experimental stuff with you, or do a barrel buy with your brand to help support your brand. I really enjoy what you're doing, and I really enjoyed the flavor profile that tequila you created. So let's do some more stuff to kind of help the brand, and I don't charge them for it. And so I get more and more brands that reach out to me now that want me to try their tequilas and give them my honest feedback. But I also get producers now that message me all the time to give me updates on what they're doing, new things that are coming out of the distilleries. So I'm able to provide even additional content that some of the other people that are out there on social media cannot provide. That makes me excited. That makes me excited that I can provide, additional amazing information for you guys that will make you more informed consumers. So where do we go from here, right? Well, the Tequila Hombre channel is going to remain the way it is now. We're going to keep doing deep down dives into the world of tequila production and doing our reviews on our new brands that are coming out and new expressions and so on. But here on the Hombre Cave, we're going to dive deeper down into tequila production, wine and tequila's relationship, how to make wine at home so you too can experience what it's like for the producers to make tequila, or if you just want to make wine because you're a wine person and learn how to make good quality wine. We're going to bring people from educators in the wine industry on here to help you to answer questions and stuff. We're going to talk about home winemaking, where I'm going to teach you how to start making wine at home so you can make good quality wine for around $5 to $7 a bottle. And we're going to talk about, I'm going to take you with me as I get an enology certificate from Washington State University. So I'm going to take you with me on this journey over the next 2 years, whereas I'm learning how to produce wine as a professional wine maker. I'm going to take you along on that journey and share a lot of the knowledge that I'm getting from my coursework with you. And hopefully that helps you too become an amazing home winemaker. But also for those of you that are tequila people, driving your knowledge of tequila production to the point where you'll be far more knowledgeable about tequila production than most of the other so-called experts on social media and on the internet. So whether you've been with me since day one, or you're just discovering the Tequila Hombre here on the Hombre Cave or on YouTube or wherever you found me, I appreciate you being part of this journey, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts and addressing any questions that you have. So feel free to comment on this episode on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or even on the Hombre Cave YouTube channel, where I will answer your questions personally. You can also reach out to me on Instagram, DM me directly, or you can DM me directly on Facebook, and I always respond personally to answer your questions. And I'd also love if you have some content information that you want in a future episode of the podcast, comment that as well. And if I can accommodate that and get information for you, I will do a podcast episode to help you out. And until next time, like I always say, life is too short to drink bad tequila. So keep following here on the Hombre Cave Podcast, and we're going to enlighten you and give you all the information you need so you'll be able to make informed decisions when you're looking online or at the liquor store for, well, actually both tequila and wine. So thank you for joining me, and look forward to providing you some amazing information in the future. Salud.